It's your under degrees. Sip with me. I'll pour it hot, so hot. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait to sip this tea. Sip this tea, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping 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 this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, shining bright, set the stage. Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait, so come and escape and sip this tea. Sip with me, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling 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 and sipping this tea. It's your under degrees. Sip with me. I'll pour it hot, so hot. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait to sip this tea. Sip this tea, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping 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 this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, shining bright, set the stage. Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait, so come and escape and sip this tea. Sip with me, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling 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 and sipping this tea.
What's going on, Diamond Gang? It's your girl Yolanda the Great, and I'm back with another war update. This is my first time tonight streaming on Twitch. Yes, my first time. So shout out to Twitch. Shout outs to my beautiful mods. Thank you for showing up and showing out. We got a lot of information to go through, and you guys know I always started from the day before or the night before, and there is a lot going on. There is a lot. We're going to start off tonight with the Pentagon. Pete Hegseth lying to us. Um, they're lying about the casualties. They are lying about the U.S. bases that was damaged. Um, they're lying about aircraft losses. We're going to get into a bunch of things. We're also going to get into Iran. They was definitely showing off today. Iran claimed that they attacked the U.S. Navy. Well, excuse me, let's go back. First and foremost, this morning, they claimed that they hit a U.S. warship, but CENTCOM denied it. Now, they did attack a U.S. Navy destroyer in the Straits, and they hit the UAE. Okay. That's one of the reasons why the UAE was like, look, too much going on. We got to go. We're being hit. And all of this, they've been hiding this since day two, since the war started. Day two, they've been hiding a lot of things from us. So without further ado, I'm going to bring my screen up. You guys know the rules. All I'm looking for is a like. If you would like to support the channel, the Cash App is pinned. All opinions will be respected, even if the opinion is opposing of what my opinion may be. You're allowed to put it in the chat. Please misspell cuss words and just don't be disrespectful. If you're disrespectful, my mods will remove you. So I'm going to go ahead and add my screen. Let me make myself a little smaller, just a little smaller so you guys can see. So right now we know that there are far more casualties. As far as aircraft losses, we know that they're not reporting the correct information. They're not even giving us the true dollar amount of this war. They say 25 billion. No, it's way more than 25 billion. Okay. So let's get into it.
Shocking news as we are learning much more about what happened on the second day of the war with Iran. And it's extremely disturbing and shocking because we are being lied to. We have not been told the full story by Pete Hegseth, the Pentagon, and this Trump administration about what happened and the extent of the damage. And we are learning now.
Listen, the casualties, they are far higher than the public number. The Pentagon publicly stated 13 U.S. troops killed and hundreds wounded. No. One report circulating stated there is nearly 750 combined killed or wounded. Let's go, Diamond Gang.
Based on reporting from NBC and others, is that Iran had these old jets. They're F-5 jets from the Shah era that they were able to launch, and they penetrated U.S. and Kuwait air defenses. These jets have such a small cross-section for a radar that they did not get picked up. It confused the system. And one of these jets got through with its payload and caused extensive damage on Camp Burin. Air defenses.
Listen, let me tell y'all something. They hit multiple, and I mean multiple U.S. bases over there. Hold on, I'm trying to find my list. They hit Kuwait, they hit Bahrain, they hit Qatar, they hit Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. Like, you know how Trump say decimate? Yeah. Well, they destroyed. And I mean literally, they are inhabitable. Let's go.
launched missiles at our own jets, our F-15s. Remember when they went down and the pilots parachuted out and ejected safely, all of them? Well, that was from this F-5 getting through and the confusion that was caused. And so they mistook our own jets for one of these Iranian F-5.
So we took down ourselves because we had sadly mistaken one of ours for one of theirs. Let's go.
And that's what led to these multi-million-dollar jets being shot down. And then the damage to the base is extensive and other bases throughout the region. It's at a number of 16 total bases, either totally destroyed or completely unusable.
16. That is more than half. Diamond Gang, please and thank you. Can you hit the like? Hit the like for your girl, please and thank you.
16. That's basically almost all of our bases in the Middle East. This now calls into question what happened with the strike that killed Americans.
The bases, personnel had to move into hotels and office spaces because the strike damages was tremendous. Damages estimated for the first 2 weeks alone were reported around 800 million plus bases. Okay, for the first 2 weeks of this war.
Service members. Was it an actual Shahed drone or was it one of these F-5 fighter jets? They're saying that some of these were just one-way jets where the pilots themselves ejected that were flying them because they could not make it back. Guys, truly remarkable stuff here. We need to know more. We need to
listen. They sold the public precision and control, but in the entire regional bases were taking serious, they had serious hits and serious damage.
Press on this. We need to share this information and spread the word. We should all be talking about this. Mainstream news isn't even beginning to cover this yet, and we all deserve to know the truth. Let me know if you agree. Like, share, spread the word.
Let me tell y'all something. Aircraft losses, they were bigger than expected. An F-15E was shot down over in Iran. Rescue aircraft losses during a recovery mission. Damages to multiple refueling aircrafts. Destruction of a Boeing E-3 Sentry. Aircraft carrier operationals disruptions. It was a mess. Just a mess.
Follow, subscribe, and I'll see you back here for the 411.
We have some major news right now.
And y'all know, for that rescue mission alone, over 150 aircrafts were used.
Pentagon isn't telling you the full truth about what happened to U.S. military bases during the war in Iran. According to a new CNN investigation, over half the number of U.S. military bases across 8 separate countries have experienced damage due to Iranian strikes on U.S. military bases in retaliation for the U.S. and Israeli strike. That is billions of dollars in damages, not to mention the several soldiers who lost their lives and the many more who were injured. But if you just listen to the Pentagon, if you just...
Remember, Diamond Gang, when Pete Hegseth was over there talking to Congress, and they asked, and he tried to play it off and said that it was classified information. They didn't want us to know.
Listen to the Trump administration, and they're going to tell you that it's a much rosier picture. But the truth is, several American bases were hit, and many were hit pretty significantly, according to this new investigation. And it comes as Donald Trump is now claiming that Iran hasn't paid a big enough price yet in this war, a war that he says never actually started because he doesn't want to.
This is why they had to remove him from the Situation Room when they were discussing the plans, the rescue mission. This is exactly why. Things was not looking good for us. We actually hit ourselves. We actually hit ourselves, mistaking it for Iran. That jet, the old jet that they ended up using.
Call it a war that he's told Congress has already concluded. So that's where we're at right now. Spread the word. And as always, follow along for all the news you need to know about. There'll be more to come soon.
We've been in a war against Iran for less than 2 months, and we've depleted a significant number of our defensive munitions. Second,
our stockpile is low. We get into anything else, we're in trouble.
Even with the defensive munitions we have, based on public reporting, Iran, which is a second-rate military, has struck numerous U.S. bases, causing significant damage. That means in any prolonged conflict with China or Russia, our overseas bases will be obliterated.
Did y'all hear that? Any other conflict we get into, we will be obliterated. We don't have enough. We don't. All right, let's go.
By a better military. And then third, their money is unsustainable. One Patriot missile costs between $4 and $4.5 million. An Iranian drone costs about $30,000 to $50,000. This is like launching Ferraris at Frisbees. We cannot sustain this. And so until the Department of Defense comes up with a new strategy, they should not be asking for any more funds.
Unprecedented destruction. A CNN investigation discovering Iran.
Please, 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 Diamond Gang, I need y'all to hit the like. This is my first night also streaming on Twitch. So if you over there in Twitch world, welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's go, Diamond Gang.
Iran has caused extensive damage to a majority of the U.S. military sites in the region. Precise Iranian missile.
Let me say this. This was not a clean operation at all. Major aircraft losses and emergency recovery missions tell us a whole different story.
And drone strikes aided by sophisticated Chinese technology, hitting some of America's most crucial military assets in the Middle East. The extent of the damage unknown until now. Our Tamara Kablawi is out front.
Camp Buehring, Kuwait. American soldiers enjoying a karaoke night at one of the biggest U.S. military hubs in the Gulf. That was then. This is.
I'm going to stop it. Do y'all see that damage? Do y'all see that damage? If y'all can see it at the bottom of the screen.
Now, a once bustling American microcity in the desert, nearly empty and heavily damaged after a weeks-long barrage of Iranian missiles and drones.
This was the second day all the way up until 2 weeks. The first 2 days up into the first 2 weeks. And they hid it from the public.
One of many U.S. military facilities in the oil-rich Arabian Peninsula, targeted by Iran even as the U.S. and Israel pummeled the Islamic Republic's large arsenal. So what impact?
Remember, they wasn't briefing Trump on anything. All they were doing was showing President Trump pictures or videos, 2-minute snippets of us bombing them. But they hid this from him as well.
Have Iran strikes had on America's footprint in the Middle East. A CNN investigation found evidence of unprecedented destruction. We can reveal that strikes damaged at least 16 U.S. installations across 8 countries. According to our analysis and sourcing, that's the majority of American military positions in the region, and some of them are virtually unusable now. A U.S. source familiar with the situation.
So again, they hit Kuwait, they hit Bahrain, they hit Qatar, they hit Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. That is one of the reasons why the UAE was like, we can't do this. We can't do this.
Situation told us that they'd never seen anything like this at American bases, that these were rapid, targeted strikes using advanced technology.
And Diamond Gang, they got them good again today. So, yeah, they will be retaliating. They spoke loud and clear. We'll be going through that too later on.
Iran's main targets? Multi-million-dollar aircraft, like this Boeing E-3 Sentry, which gave the U.S. a huge amount of visibility over the Gulf. It's out of production, and in today's money, it's worth nearly $500 million.
With Witkoff, it's like you might as well be sitting with like a 4th grader.
Now we're getting ready to get into who he is being advised by. Okay? He's not being advised by anybody military.
Because the Iranians put on the table very.
So if you don't understand the language and you don't understand what's going on, how are you supposed to negotiate? How? But these is the people he put in place, right? So let's go.
Significant, what they call flexible terms on a wide range of issues. Trump could have taken a huge L and danced all around the world saying he did what Barack Hussein Obama could never do. He could have gotten a deal that he would have been celebrating for like the rest of his time on this earth, that he got the Iranians to do X, Y, and Z. So, and the Iranians were saying, when I spoke to them before this, when the Omanis were mediating, they were saying, our sense is that the Omanis understand how significant it is we're putting on the table. And remember, Emma, what happened? The Omani foreign minister, and remember.
Please, 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 Diamond Gang, I got 107 in the building. Can I please get at least 20 likes? I have 9 likes right now. Please and thank you.
The Omanis have been doing this for decades. They are the chief mediator on the nuclear issue between the United States and Iran going back decades. The Omanis fly their foreign minister to Washington. He meets with J.D. Vance and other top U.S. officials. He believes we are on the verge of a highly significant historic agreement between the Trump administration and the Iranians, and he comes out and he says that in public. Less than 48 hours later, the United States launches this war against Iran. So what is it that I'm saying to you? What I'm saying is that
Bingo, the ones that's advising him had no idea what the hell was going on and what they actually had in front of them on the table.
The Iranians are saying, on the one hand, they brought no technical experts with them, not a single technical expert.
None of them have those backgrounds. None of them.
Expert from the U.S. government with Iran. They sent Trump's golf buddy and his son-in-law. That's who the U.S. sent.
Let me take it back.
Between the Trump administration and the United States and Iran going back decades. The Omanis fly their foreign minister to Washington. He meets with J.D. Vance and other top U.S. officials. He believes we are on the verge of a highly significant historic agreement between the Trump administration and the Iranians, and he comes out and he says that in public. Less than 48 hours later, the United States launches this war against Iran. So what is it that I'm saying to you? What I'm saying is that the Iranians are saying, on the one hand, they brought no technical experts with them, not a single.
Not one. How are you going to negotiate when you have no understanding? That's all I'm saying.
Technical expert from the U.S. government with Iran. They sent Trump's golf buddy and his son-in-law. That's who the U.S. sent. Iran is there with nuclear experts, with PhDs in American studies, with people that understand every single bit of minutia about the 2015 JCPOA and the American position on a whole range of issues. And we get Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. So the Iranians are saying, on the one hand, they had no idea what we were talking about. They didn't understand the technical issues. And that led to things like Steve Witkoff going on Fox News and saying, that they're days away from building a weapons grade, blah, 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 like things that.
This is who is advising President Trump.
Make absolutely no sense, that even Dick Cheney would be blushing at the level of incompetence of the lies. But on the other hand, they said, it's so clear to us that none of this was about the nuclear enrichment issue. This was about wanting to set it up to go to war, buying time to get their assets in place. So that's what the Iranians were dealing with. On the one hand, not a single technical expert, real estate bros at the table, Trump's son-in-law at the table, and then a political agenda that was clear as day that they wanted to go forward and do this war, and they were waiting to get all their assets in place.
Now, another one, Pete Hegseth. Okay, he's another one. He went on a military purge, which didn't make no sense at all in the middle of a war. Some say it was political motive as an effort to consolidate control or to have control over the Pentagon. But let's get into it.
We have some news right now. Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, is becoming increasingly isolated, and there is a lot of disarray within the Department of Defense, according to new reporting from The Guardian. And it comes this morning as 2 American service members are currently missing following exercises in Morocco. Here's what you need to know. So The Guardian is reporting that the Secretary of Defense is becoming increasingly isolated. He is continuing to purge and push out some of the most seasoned military professionals because he views them as a threat to his leadership. And as a
Bingo. And this is not good at all. There's a lot of, for personal reasons, going on in this war instead of being strategic. like moving troops out of Germany because your feelings was hurt. Okay, let's go. Diamond Gang, I got 140 in the building. I got 12 likes. Can I get a couple more likes? Please and thank you. It helps keep me in the algorithm.
Result, the Pentagon is in, quote, disarray. It's not from me, it's from the Guardian's reporting. And it comes as this morning, United States Africa Command, AFRICOM, announced on Twitter that 2 U.S. service members are currently missing in southwestern Morocco.
I'm going to guarantee you guys, my opinion, after Patel, it will be Pete Hegseth.
After taking part in the annual multinational military exercises in the North African country. The search remains ongoing for these service members, and I'll have more updates for you soon. So as always, spread the word and follow along stay updated on all the...
And a lot of those positions were not refilled. So they're just absent, vacant. Hundreds of years of expertise and knowledge out the door because of someone's insecurities.
News you need to know about. There'll be more to come soon.
What do you think of Pete Hegseth as Secretary of Defense /War?
I think it's worse than incompetent. I think he's a vengeful individual who not just lacks the qualification, but has a meanness to him and a corruption of his heart and soul to him.
Again, too much personal going on instead of strategy.
That allows him to do things to people and organizations that most normal people would not do. I think he is an extreme danger, which is why my focus has been to getting him fired, basically. Is he going to resign? You know, I've called for him to resign, and I know it's popular for people to call for him to resign. This man's not going to resign.
They have started the articles of impeachment. They did that about 2 weeks ago.
He's just not. I know some people have called for him to impeach. I would love to have him impeached. And of course, I would pursue that. But we don't have the votes for that either. The Republicans are simply not going to do that right now, so long as they hold the majority. So what can we do? We can make it so untenable for him and highlight the level of...
And even that, you know, midterms, Democrats flipping seats. Who knows? Who knows?
Corruption and the incompetent. As you point out, the Strait of Hormuz, there was no plan here. We started a war without a plan for handle very, very sensitive items, right? Like how to protect our troops in the region. Clearly, there was no plan for that. And American soldiers and service members are dead as a result of that.
Secretary Hegseth told your committee that the administration doesn't need congressional authorization to continue the war past 60 days because the clock pauses because of...
Unfortunately, he didn't do too well when he went in front of Congress at all. There's always a fall guy or someone that they are going to blame. My opinion, it will be him. It will be him.
The ceasefire. President Trump has essentially said the same. Do you agree with that?
No. The language of the statutes does not provide for timeouts like in a football game. From the day you begin, 60 days.
He did not know a lot. He didn't know cost. He made up things as far as the clock stops because there's a ceasefire. I told you guys this the other day. That blockade is an act of war. It's not a timeout. It's an act of war.
The president has to comply with the law. There can be a 30-day extension to 90 days, but that has to be requested by the president.
Corey said they always choke when under pressure. What's up, Corey?
Be notified. No such notifications come through. The president's ignoring the law. He does that constantly. This is not the first example where he just completely ignores the law. And we have to keep the pressure on. In contrast to President Trump, at least President Bush came before the United States Congress and asked for authority to conduct operations in Iraq. Now, I disagree with that. I thought it was going to be a disastrous situation. But nevertheless, he provided Congress the opportunity to opine and decide. And
remember the other day, Trump was on and he said, no, why do we have to do it? No president has ever done it. He said it right there. Bush did it. Bush did it. Let's go.
And gave him legitimacy that this president lacks.
Just one day after President Trump told Congress that hostilities with Iran have been terminated, Iran is now saying that renewed conflict with the U.S. is likely. A senior Iranian military.
If you're just coming in, all opinions will be respected. If they're opposing to mine, that's fine. You just can't be disrespectful. Please, please, please hit the like. And if you're new here, we always start 24 hours and then we end up in real time what's going on. So
military official is saying in state media, quote, the armed forces are fully prepared for any new adventures or foolishness from the Americans. And the president himself is now saying that maybe the U.S. would be better off without making a deal with Iran. He said that just hours after.
He's getting burnt out. He's getting tired. He wants this to be over. He knows that it is not a good look. Most Americans do not approve. His ratings suck. So, yeah. And now he's ready to go to what? Cuba. That's what he said.
Saying that he had two options when it came to Iran, which was to, quote, blast the hell out of them or try to make a deal. And all of this comes as the Pentagon is now announcing that they'll be withdrawing 5,000 troops from Germany.
Again, 5,000 troops over what? Feelings and emotions, not out of strategy, because he didn't like what Germany said.
In the next 6 to 12 months. So why are they doing that? Well, there's a few reasons. President Trump has been lashing out at our NATO allies for not getting directly involved in this war in Iran. And this move also comes just days after the German chancellor publicly criticized the Trump administration's handling of the war, saying, quote, the Americans clearly.
What I don't understand is how he can consistently bash them and also put sanctions on them and bully them. And then when they speak up for themselves, you see what happened. He moved troops.
Have no strategy when it comes to Iran, and that the U.S. is being, quote, humiliated by Iranian negotiators. A senior Pentagon official is telling us.
Based off of the damages that they tried to sweep under the rug and based off of what happened today, it's looking that way.
Us that this withdrawal is happening because, quote, the president is rightly reacting to those counterproductive remarks and, quote, the Europeans have not stepped up when the Americans needed them. Now, the Pentagon says that this withdrawal is going to return the U.S. troop presence to where it was.
Okay, you said this was just a pause to re-up on ammunition, but I agree that the blockade is an act of war because we are suffering as Americans. Absolutely. But here's the thing, Corey. They're going to need a lot more time to re-up on ammunition. A lot more time. Our stockpile is going to cost millions. Millions. If we get into any other conflict, it's not going to be good for us.
Was before the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine, and there will still be more than 30,000 U.S. troops in Germany. But top Republicans are saying that this is concerning and that it sends the wrong signal to Vladimir Putin.
Exactly. I showed y'all the other night. Russia was what? Celebrating. They were in the streets celebrating. So that was a win for Russia when he decided to pull those troops from Germany. This is crazy. Russia, who was just in a meeting with the foreign minister of Iran, who vowed to stick beside them and support them, who is supplying them with drones and intelligence. Let's go.
Learned late Friday that there was a decision made by Secretary Hegseth, and the two Republican chairs of the House and Senate Armed Services Committees are objecting to it. They are very concerned by Hegseth's order to withdraw a U.S. brigade from Germany. They said it was not coordinated with Congress. And yesterday, President Trump said on top of the 5,000 that was announced, he wants to pull even more troops out of Germany. What is the effect of doing so?
Again, out of feelings, not strategy.
Well, first of all, it's not just a lack of coordination or just Congress's preference that we want this to be done. This is law. There's actually law in place that both the House and the Senate passed on a bipartisan basis that sets certain conditions for movement of our troops around Europe.
But remember, he doesn't obey the law. He don't care.
And we passed these laws out of grave concern for rhetoric by this administration in the past that they were going to draw down our presence in Europe, which is one of the most important troop footprints we have in the world that helps secure Europe, helps secure our economy, helps protect the hundreds of thousands of American citizens who live and work on the continent. So we are enforcing the law and the requirements. Second is it appears as though this decision was made because Donald Trump was upset by a comment made by the German chancellor. Like he is getting emotional and angry about this, and he's making really consequential troop movement decisions based upon being upset by the comments of a foreign leader, which is no way to run a foreign policy. So we're looking into it, and we're going to make sure that any movements, if they do occur, are actually in our interest.
Again, Trump does not understand that NATO is a defensive ally, okay? They're not aggressors, okay? NATO does not exist to invade or conquer territory, and he don't get it through his head. It's structured and legal as a legal foundation. Is built for protection, deterrence, and response. We attacked Iran with Israel. They didn't attack us. If it was the other way around, yeah, okay, I could see him being upset, but that is not what they're there for.
You were talking about the Chancellor of Germany saying that a whole nation is being humiliated by the Iranian leadership. I mean, that's a pretty strong statement from an ally. But in regard to pulling troops out of that country, we'll still have at least 30,000.
They're basically just a safeguard for us. That's their part. And they played their part. They have played their part. 9/11 is the best example. They play their part.
Troops or so in Germany. Isn't that still within the legal framework? I believe that the floor is set to 76,000 in Europe, but the president can go below it if he certifies to Congress it's in the national interest. Why do you think there is a violation?
Well, that's exactly the assessment we have to go through. What we know is that the president is making a decision based upon a comment that he.
So again, NATO engages in crisis prevention, peacekeeping, post-conflict stabilization, counterterrorism, and anti-piracy operations. That's what they are there for.
Didn't like by a foreign leader. So that alone is very concerning to us. It should be concerning to every American that you have the president of the United States, a commander in chief, who's going to move thousands of troops around just to get back at a foreign leader for a comment that he doesn't like.
That is not being strategic at all. Diamond Gang, I got 147 in the building. Can I get at least 30 more likes? I have 21 more likes. I don't want to keep stopping and begging for likes. They are free. If you would like to support the channel, the Cash App is pinned. All I want is a like for my effort.
Yeah.
But I'm not presumptively against troop movements. Like if we need to move troops or brigades around to respond to national security issues, we should by all means do that. That's the prerogative of the commander in chief. When I was in the military, we would move forces around all the time. My point is we actually have to make sure that this is being done according to the risks that our forces are facing.
As we know, there has been some disappointment.
Now this is, I can't remember his name, but NATO, the NATO boss. Let's go.
On the US side, when it comes to European reaction to what is happening now in the Middle East and the campaign of Israel and the US against Iran. But I would also argue that what I'm hearing from all my contacts with European leaders is that European leaders have gotten the message. They heard the message from the US loud and clear. And we have seen all these countries now participating with their bilateral agreements, making sure that when it comes to basic requests and all logistical support, this is delivered.
And what they actually offered is once the strait is opened, we will help. And he didn't want to hear that at all. And then he claims he wanted to see what they would say. That was his answer. That was a test. Who plays like that?
More and more European countries pre-positioning essential logistical and other support, for example, mine hunters, minesweepers close to theater, so that for the next phase they're ready. So I would argue that yes, there has been.
So there it goes right there. He said they would even help clearing the mines out of the straits just to get, things back to the way that they were, which that probably will never happen.
Some disappointment from the US side, but the Europeans have listened to the message from the US and from the US president, like they did last year when it came to the NATO summit and the 5% spending commitment.
What is certain?
Now, we're going to get into basically how Iran was feeling last night. They basically was preparing. They knew that it was going to escalate because they were actually standing by what they said. You don't move the blockade. Any ships try to get through, it's just going to be a problem. So, and they're stating that it will not return to pre-war state, which means prior to it was free, people could go in and out. They're saying once this war is over, it's not going to go back to the way it was. They're going to continue to run it. Let's go.
Is that we will not step back from the Strait of Hormuz, and it will not return to its pre-war state. And the people of Hormuzgan province, along with the armed forces stationed there, have carried out a significant task. The enemy was left helpless, and although Donald Trump declared he would reopen the strait that had been closed, he was unable to do so. He has now raised the issue of a blockade. Be certain that this too will fail. Under the law that will be adopted, vessels belonging to the Zionist regime will under no circumstances.
Now, this was prior to him announcing Operation Freedom, which is today, where we were supposed to help escort boats out that had nothing to do with the conflict. Okay, let's go.
Be allowed to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. Hostile countries, headed by the United States, will also not have the right of passage. Other vessels wishing to transit will do so under the law we enact and with authorization obtained from the Commander-in-Chief and placed at the disposal of our armed forces. We will provide services such as safety, environmental protection, and guidance for vessels, and we will charge them fees for these services. This is common practice worldwide, and the
No, it's not.
revenues will be used to strengthen our defensive capabilities, as well as to support people's livelihoods and complete and rebuild the country's infrastructure.
And I believe this is a part of them not getting reparations. I believe that they feel like they have the right to charge these fees because of the damages, but this is illegal.
Iran has issued the United States an ultimatum, specifically Donald Trump, saying that he has to choose between an impossible military operation or a bad deal. Now, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said they have given the United States 30 days to end the U.S.
Yes, this is when they actually gave us an ultimatum.
military blockade of their ports, or the war will continue. Now, this is part of the proposal that the United States received from Iran via Pakistan yesterday. Now, Donald Trump thinks that
this is the deal. He said Trump was like, nah, I don't think so.
He might be able to make a deal with Iran based on this, but Pakistan says they don't think that he actually will make a deal. And that's what they've been telling Iran. So Iran has now given them an ultimatum. You have 30 days. Yes, Iran's newest proposal is a 14-point plan that's called.
He eventually said he was not taking this deal.
Calls for the U.S. to guarantee non-aggression while lifting a naval blockade and a all-out on all fronts into the war, including in Lebanon, meaning that the United States for once would have to control Israel. With that in mind, I fully understand why Pakistan says that they don't.
That part, That's a whole nother story because Israel is just doing what they want. There was never a ceasefire at all. And then on top of that, they want their so-called ceasefire to end with Hezbollah 2 weeks early. I mean, no, they wanted to end a week early. Instead of 3 weeks, they only want it to last 2 weeks.
I don't believe that the United States will make a deal.
Just breaking moments ago, the large cargo ship has been attacked.
A large cargo.
Now, this is when we were getting reports. Now, this CENTCOM denied it. Iran claimed that they hit a U.S. vessel. We denied it, and I still don't know the truth.
Ship reports being attacked by multiple small boats in the Strait of Hormuz.
Iran has attacked at least 4 vessels in the Strait of Hormuz using those fast boats since this war began.
Breaking news coming out today that Iran is attacking ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Now, this coming while we're
Now, this was yesterday. Last night, they were escalating. Last night.
also hearing both sides have presented proposals for a ceasefire deal, peace, to end the conflict. And we're hearing that both sides are saying they do not like what they see, and it appears that things are preparing to escalate, as we're hearing both sides are preparing for more war. Let's go ahead and take a look at the latest.
But they started ASAP. They started right away.
Headlines so that way you can see it for yourself. Coming out today, May 3rd, 2026, Iran attacks cargo ship in the Strait of Hormuz. And now this coming out, you can see in just about the past hour. I'm going to get you caught up on all the details. In addition to that, the U.S. Army's Dark Eagle hypersonic missile could soon be deployed. Now, I covered this with you when it had come out, but we're hearing more information regarding the United States preparing for another round of attacks. Iran currently reviewing the latest U.S. reply to a peace proposal, according to
Another thing, too, I still think that we're banking on their hold on, I'll get to your comment in a minute. I think that Trump is really banking on Iran not having storage space for their oil, and the repercussions of that is their whole system is going to go down. And I think he's still trying to hold out for that because he believes that once that happens, that they will be begging to make a deal. I believe that. I really do.
To the foreign ministry, you can see May 3rd as well, more developments. And look at this. No strategy behind Trump's withdrawal of NATO troops from Germany. Sources say, as we're hearing, that Donald Trump has withdrawn.
You said, yep, Iran sent a 14-point plan and Trump still declined it. And it was a really good plan. You think it was? I don't know, Corey. Here's the thing. I'm cool with the Straits. I'm not okay with them charging $2 million. I'm not okay with the reparations. What else? Part of the plan I'm not okay with. I'm not okay with them having the rich uranium. I wish it was still under Obama's plan, where we had people going in and basically monitoring them. So it's a lot that I'm not okay with, but okay.
5,000 troops from Germany. And take a look. Trump defends the war with Iran, says we cannot let lunatics have a nuclear weapon. If you agree with Donald Trump, drop a 47 in the comments, as he is saying the job is not done. They cannot have enriched uranium that gives them the ability to have a nuclear weapon. And take a look here, Washington.
I disagree. Like I said prior to, in negotiations, they even offered it to dilute it, and we still attacked them. So
must not fall for Iran's ceasefire and nuclear delay tactics, as we're hearing that.
And because they don't trust us, and because of the situation, the enriched uranium is now off the table. It's off the table. There's no deal when it comes to that. So they're saying.
This is a strategy of theirs. Draw out the talks, make it last as long as possible. All they have to do is outlast Donald Trump. That is what we're hearing. Their strategy is delay.
And this is what this is. Who's going to fold first? Everybody's trying, but then again, Trump got to kind of be careful because this war is it's political, and he makes one bad move, and it's just like, yeah, his ratings is super low right now.
And be able to get more resources, more assets from their allies, and just drag things out so that way they can just last past the Trump administration. Donald Trump is saying, I'm not going to fall for it. We need to take out the IRGC's ability to have a nuclear weapon. So I've got video footage and articles coming out today, Sunday, May 3rd, 2026. I'm going to get you caught up on the latest. We're going to dive right in.
You said Iran won't fold. I don't think they will either because they're used to this. You know, they've been through a lot. So, yeah, they're built for this.
Breaking news, Iran has finally responded to Trump's 9-point plan for a ceasefire with a 14-point counterproposal. Here are the key demands.
All right, y'all ready? We're going to hear what the 14-point plan consists of.
They want guarantees of non-aggression, withdrawal of U.S. troops from the Middle East. They want
those two I'm okay with.
A release of Iran's frozen assets, payment of compensation for the damage in Iran, and a full ceasefire on all fronts, including South Lebanon with Hezbollah. And a new framework for the Strait of Hormuz. Trump arrived in Doral, Florida at his golf course yesterday and posted on Truth Social last night that he will soon be reviewing the plan. But he cannot imagine it will be acceptable. He said that Iran has not yet paid a big enough price for what they have done to humanity.
Bingo. He wants payback. And I believe it has a lot to do with what we covered in the beginning of this live stream. They really did a number on us. Billions of dollars of damages.
And the world for the last 47 years. I swear to you, I think Benjamin Netanyahu is writing these posts for Trump. If you compared side by side the atrocities committed by the U.S., Israel, and Iran in the last 47 years, Israel and the U.S. win this one by a landslide. But this is the propaganda that they spread. They spread things like this as if the U.S. and Israel are the good guys, and that anyone they don't like are evil and are the bad guys. Those days are over, and the world sees the truth now. They see that Iran has been patient and restrained themselves from all the aggression.
They definitely did. And because I believe that our administration came out telling lies, it's just, I mean, who can we believe if we can't believe our own?
That they have faced from the West. They didn't use their arsenal of weapons that they have until they were forced to and were attacked. I myself am in awe of the patience that Iran showed all these years, so much that I mistook their patience for weakness. All the while, Israel and the U.S. are bombing countries after countries, killing millions and millions, and I'm talking about civilians. Show me where Iran has done such a thing. Israel conducts collective punishment of the Palestinians, the Lebanese.
I don't think they're totally innocent, but yeah, I think that they've been very patient.
And show me where Iran has done collective punishment on anyone. Israel will say there's one Hezbollah or Hamas fighter in a building, then they flatten said building. Where has Iran ever done this? Anyone who says it's okay to flatten a building because of one fighter in the building, I want you to relate that to a mass shooter here in America. Imagine that a mass shooter was on the run and decided to run into an apartment building to hide. Would it then be okay to flatten?
So you said NATO is who we believe. Iran 14 points are far, but Trump effed up. He roped up the Iran deal. Is that what? Okay. So you're basically saying that the 14-point plan is fair. There's just a couple things I don't like about it. I mean, it is okay. Trump, do I believe Trump effed up? Yeah, I do. I do. And I think that we could have had a deal a long time ago.
In that building to kill one person? Is it okay to destroy civilian homes or kill civilians because of the mass shooter hiding in that building? The same rules should apply to Israel. Sorry that I veered off out here. Back to the negotiations.
Yeah, thanks to everybody. Shouts out to everybody to hit the like. It helps me stay in the algorithm. If you would like to support the channel, the Cash App is pinned. This channel is no longer monetized. And guess why? Because of this right here. But I started it, so I'm going to finish it.
So it seems like that Trump is obviously going to deny this proposal, but this doesn't mean we're going back to war. As much as they threaten that we are definitely not. Trump is done with this war.
Bingo. I do believe that he is ready to move on to Cuba. He wants desperately an out, and I do believe that it was Israel that kept us in. I do believe that.
What I do see is a stalemate in these negotiations, and in the end, Iran will get their way by taking control of the Strait of Hormuz, and the status quo of the relationship between Israel, the U.S., and Iran stays the same. After all, they need an enemy in the Middle East to keep up with Israel's victim mentality.
It looks like the Iran war is going to reignite tomorrow as Donald Trump has announced a plan for the...
Now, we're going to go into this operation to escort the ships out.
U.S. Navy to escort ships out of the Strait of Hormuz that Iran does not want leaving. He made the announcement on Truth Social, of course, and he's calling it Project Freedom, going on to say, if this process is disrupted, we will deal with it by force. Just hours before he made the announcement,
Let me ask y'all a question in the chat. What do y'all think this was about? Because he tried to act like, oh, these people that has nothing to do with this and they're innocent, they need to get out. What do you guys think this was about? Some say this was potentially a reason to ignite the war again. I don't know.
The IRGC ordered all ships out of UAE ports and announced initial military actions to stop the U.S. blockade. Now the U.S. Navy is going to move into waters where the IRGC has been seizing commercial vessels, laying mines, charging tolls, and operates hundreds of fast attack boats with anti-ship missiles. This means it's very likely the U.S. Navy will be fighting with the IRGC tomorrow morning. Additionally, Steve Witkoff says Washington...
Now remember, if you're new here, we always start the day before, last 24 hours, and we work our way up to real time. So we're almost in real time.
Is in conversation with Iran right now as negotiations to end the war regain momentum. However, Iran denied this claim just 30 minutes after it was made, meaning talks might still be stalled. As all of this is happening, Donald Trump was seen playing golf.
Don't you know there's video of them trying to get the people not to take pictures or film? He didn't want them to see him playing golf, but they got him
Today, and when someone tried to record him, another person said, please don't film. Take a look.
Trump just announced Project Freedom on his Truth Social, but it's a total lie. Let me show you. I know.
That's another thing too. They said market manipulation, but that did not happen today. I made sure I looked that up. All right, let's go. Gas is still sky ass high.
How? Many reasons.
And the Dow is down. It's down.
First, the timing. We're talking late on Sunday. He always makes an announcement or claim like this to try to manipulate the markets, to try to smooth things over economically. And then when Monday or Tuesday, we see it was all a lie every single time consistently. Secondly, the way that
this was last night. We know it wasn't a lie because it's today, but let's go.
this is phrased is not, we have a deal that's, solid and ironclad with the Iranian regime. It's like, it's kind of like a question, please do this. It would be nice. It's a good gesture, humanitarian, blah, 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 blah. And when you think about it, you consider number three, it would be a complete reversal of Iran's posture on the Strait of Hormuz, which they basically said, if you're going to have a blockade, we're not going to let ships through that aren't our own. Until you hear from Iran, you cannot believe this one bit. And finally, I will just say this.
Did y'all hear what he said? So we're looking to Iran for the answers. We're looking for, you know what I mean? Because we can't believe nothing that our president is saying. I don't like that.
If he tries to go through, and he's making a warning in here as well. He's saying, if anybody interferes, we're going to fire on them. Well, you wouldn't need to say that if you had an actual deal with the Iranians. It would be a complete suicide mission, in my opinion. I've gone over this many times. The Strait of Hormuz is very narrow.
Very narrow. I went over it with you guys and I showed you it. That mission is damn near impossible. But let's go.
It's got high mountains on each side, basically. That makes the radars on our ships and the defensive systems have little time to work. Anti-ship ballistic cruise missiles have like an 8 to 10 second travel time. They can hit us with cruise missiles, those ballistic missiles, drones, unmanned surface vessels, mines. That's 5 different domains they can attack from in different directions. And we're coming off a ceasefire. They've pre-positioned everything. And a lot of the things they shoot, especially...
Yeah, they were definitely preparing themselves.
The cruise missiles are mobile launchers that look like basically U-Haul trucks. They're hard to track down. It would be a complete debacle. And I don't know why the hell he's even saying this, other than some kind of fraudulent way to make more money for his friends. That's all I can say.
That was not the case because the markets was trashed today.
President Trump just announced tonight that starting on Monday, the U.S. will start escorting ships out of the Strait of Hormuz for countries not involved in the Iran war. President Trump is calling this Project Freedom and warning that interference will be, quote, dealt with forcefully. Now, all of this comes just hours after Trump rejected Iran's new peace.
Listen, because of what happened today, who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? Do you guys think? You said how many Americans have to die for Trump's vanity? I know. Y'all, we know that the Gulf is still Gulf of Mexico. All right, let's go. I forgot what I was going to say. This is going to escalate, and I told you guys that.
Proposal, calling it not acceptable. But in that same announcement, he says his representatives are now having very positive discussions with Iran. And his messaging on this war has shifted significantly in just the last few days. The president went from saying hostilities were terminated to threatening to blast the hell out of them to saying maybe we're better off not making a deal at all. Now, positive discussions. But if we just rewind.
Did y'all hear that? 4 different emotions all at once, publicly.
3 weeks, Trump had said Iran had agreed to all of his demands, that they'd work with the U.S. to remove their enriched uranium, that energy prices would fall. None of that has happened. But this is what we do know about what's in the Iran proposal, according to Iranian state media. U.S. forces withdraw, sanctions lifted, naval blockade ended, but no mention of a key U.S. demand, limits on what's left of Iran's nuclear program. Now, we are now in week 10 of this war. Trump had campaigned on gas under $2 a gallon.
And here's the thing. We went over this the last time I went live. We have not accomplished not one of our objectives. And now we have to add on opening the straits. So this is insane.
Today, the national average is 445. That is a 4-year high. Experts say it could take more than a year for those prices to come back down.
Breaking news as Rudy Giuliani.
I would hate to see this was all in vain, like just all for nothing.
Is not doing well, and Trump is trying to flip the script on it.
Why this? Listen, gang, I get the events as they occur in order, in that order. Why did he say it was due to the Democrats? He say anything, y'all. Let's go.
Iran. Our fabulous Rudy Giuliani, a true warrior and the best mayor in the history of New York City, by far, has been hospitalized and is in critical condition. What a tragedy that he was treated so badly.
There was an update. He is in stable condition right now, gang.
The radical left lunatics, Democrats all. And he was right about everything. They cheated on the elections, fabricated hundreds of stories, did anything possible to destroy our nation. And now look at Rudy. So sad. He just described everything that Rudy Giuliani did. Now, regarding Iran.
I'm sorry. This man say anything. Please, Diamond Gang. I got 131 in the building. Can I get a few more likes, please? And thank you. I appreciate you guys so much. Okay, let's go.
And Trump says the United States is going to escort ships through the Strait of Hormuz and allow them to carry on with their business as normal. He's calling this a humanitarian gesture because the ships are running out of food necessary for a large-scale cruise to stay on board and in a healthy and sanitary manner. I'm sure.
Let me say this. I don't think that was a bad idea. I don't. Those people have been stuck for a while, a long while. I I don't think that was a bad idea. However, I mean, it did escalate things.
Sure, it has nothing to do with the Iranian super tanker carrying $220 million worth of crude oil that evaded the U.S. blockade and made it over to the Asia Pacific. It couldn't have anything to do with that. No word on what sent Rudy Giuliani to the hospital, but he made his own choices, not the Democrats. He did that on his own.
It is now day 66 of the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran. Here's a roundup of what happened.
All right, so day 66, we're going to do the roundup of everything that happened. Let's go. And then we're going to get into the attack on the UAE.
In the past 24 hours, Iran has submitted a 14-point revised proposal to Washington via Pakistan, setting a strict one-month deadline to reach a framework agreement that would reopen the Strait of Hormuz, end the U.S. naval blockade, and establish a lasting ceasefire in Iran and Lebanon. U.S. President Donald Trump said he would review the proposal, noting it's a possibility. But shortly after, he adopted a much harsher tone, insisting that the proposal is unacceptable and that Iran has not yet paid a big enough price.
See, all over the place, all over the place.
Iran's foreign ministry confirmed it is reviewing the U.S. reply to its proposal, but clarified that nuclear negotiations are not currently on the table.
That part right there, gotta blame the administration. We've had opportunity quite a few times. And because they don't trust us, and they now say that they need it just in case we ever try to bomb them again, it's off the table.
Until after a peace deal is finalized. Meanwhile, Iran has officially confirmed through senior lawmakers that it is advancing a legal framework to codify its control over the Strait of Hormuz, including a total and indefinite ban on all Israeli-affiliated vessels.
One thing that I can say, I do believe that it will not return the way it used to be, ever.
A requirement for ships from hostile countries to pay war reparations and obtain explicit permits to cross, and a transit fee or toll for all other commercial vessels. Tehran characterizes these restrictions as a direct response to the ongoing U.S. naval blockade of Iranian ports, which President Trump recently described as 100% foolproof. The average cost of gas in the U.S. has risen to $4.45 a gallon as the conflict continues to disrupt global oil.
The gas prices is not going to go down anytime soon. No time soon.
Oil supplies. This current price reflects a nearly 30-cent jump in just the past week. Israel conducted a wave of roughly 50 strikes in the last 24 hours across southern.
Y'all hear that? Israel, 50 strikes. This has been going on since before the ceasefire, during the ceasefire. It's ridiculous. They never stopped.
Lebanon, including residential areas in Nabatea and Tyre. The attacks killed at least 41 people, according to the Lebanese Ministry of Public Health. Hezbollah claimed multiple retaliatory operations.
And again, Israel is asking for their ceasefire to end a week early. It was supposed to be 3 weeks. They wanted to end in 2.
Today, including kamikaze drone strikes on Israeli vehicles in El Bayad and Naora, and 2 separate suicide drone attacks targeting a military vehicle and a gathering of Israeli soldiers. More than 1.2 million Lebanese people, roughly 1/5 of the population, remain displaced due to the ongoing strikes and the occupation of southern border strips.
We have some major Iran news this morning. It's been a chaotic morning. Iranian state media.
Now we're going to get into what's going on today from this morning up until real time.
Has claimed that it struck a U.S. naval vessel in the Strait of Hormuz following Donald Trump's announcement of Project Freedom, which isn't a way for U.S. military to escort ships through the strait, but rather to, quote, guide ships through the strait. Now, U.S. Central Command has put out a statement saying
they changed the terminology fairly quickly.
What the Iranians are saying is false. No U.S. ship has been struck. Now, what's interesting is that the U.S. Central Command didn't say that no U.S. ship has been targeted. They used the word struck. Now, Project Freedom, according to Axios, is essentially a way Trump is fed up. He's fed up with the lack of movement right now regarding negotiations or lack thereof with Iran. And so now they're at a point where, quote, it's either they're looking at a contours of a deal, or Trump is just going to bomb the hell out of Iran. That's where we're at. But it's a bit of a chaotic situation right now. U.S. command saying that 2 U.S. flagships have passed through the strait.
I'm going to tell you guys right now, the UAE, right before I went on, they vowed to retaliate. So, yeah, something altogether separate from what Iran got going on will be going on. So,
Great this morning. Like I said, lots happening. I'll have more updates for you soon. Spread the word. Follow for more.
The U.S. military is denying Iranian claims that it struck a U.S. warship in the Strait of Hormuz. It comes as the U.S. military has set up a security zone to try and get stranded ships through the waterway. The conflict with Iran pushed up gas prices even more over the weekend.
With Americans squeezed.
So if that was his ultimate goal was market manipulation, it didn't work. So I doubt if it was.
My gas prices up 35 cents in just the past week.
Gas it's ridiculous. My jaw dropped.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says the high prices are likely to drop until Iran reopens the Strait of Hormuz. On Sunday, President Trump announced the U.S. will guide trapped ships from countries not involved in the conflict safely out of these restricted waterways, while maintaining the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports.
What the president is seeing is that the blockade is working. It's putting an enormous amount of pressure on Iran.
But Trump appeared ready to reject an offer from Iran over the weekend to end the war within 30 days. The U.S. agreed to a 14-point plan, including a guarantee of no future attacks, a withdrawal of American forces from the region, and allowing Iran to continue enriching.
If he would only accept maybe two things and get to the table and talk.
Uranium. The president has insisted that permitting any Iranian nuclear program remains a red line and said he could be ready to resume attacks.
If they misbehave, if they do something bad.
He added Iran has not yet paid a big enough price for what they've done to humanity.
To get to the enriched uranium, that's a task within itself that would take months, probably. Months. I showed you guys what they would have to do to be able to transport it once they dug up all the rubble. And it may not even be salvageable.
Humanity and the world over the last 47 years. While Democrats argue U.S. strikes actually may make Iran more inclined to want nuclear weapons. Democrats and a growing number of Republicans are demanding the president seek congressional approval to continue the war because it's now gone past the 60-day deadline dictated in a law known as the War Powers Act. The president.
They're going to continue to ignore that. They are.
Argued the ceasefire means the clock has stopped on that, but Democrats point out there's no provision in the law for a pause.
It has hit that U.S. warship with 2 missiles near Yask Island after it ignored Iranian warnings. That is Iran.
Diamond Gang, I got 147 in the building. Can I get at least 20 more likes? Please, 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 and thank you. It helps me stay in the algorithm. If you would like to support the channel, the Cash App is pinned. Thank you.
According to Iranian local media. This is after Donald Trump said the U.S. would start guiding ships safely out of the waterway. Iran has said the move will be considered a violation of the ceasefire. So it looks and it appears as if Iran is showing once again that whatever the U.S. says and whatever Donald Trump, however much he huffs and puffs, he simply is unable militarily to open the strait by force.
Absolute chaos in the Middle East this morning as Trump launches Operation Project Freedom, and we are hearing now that Iran has struck a U.S. Navy ship. Trump's administration is contradicting that, saying that didn't happen. Now we're learning that there was an air defense warning that went out in the United Arab Emirates, and there is possibly one going on. The air defense is active over Tehran. That is unconfirmed, that one right now. But that's what we're hearing. And it's just complete chaos there. Trump says that the U.S. Navy ships are not going to escort.
So this morning was chaotic. It was a lot of mixed messages. A lot. It was a lot going on.
Ships through the Strait of Hormuz, but rather guide them through. And Iran has come out and said the Strait of Hormuz is closed. Trump has pinned himself in a corner that he can't get out of. Iran is in control of this situation, not Trump.
They showed just how much control they had today. I mean, yikes.
And no matter what he does, Iran will be the decider of who gets through the strait, when they get through the strait, and essentially what deal is made between Iran and the United States. Now, Trump's got tremendous pressure right now on him to open the strait because the global economy.
Diamond Gang, do you think that we're going to end up removing the blockade? Put a 1 in the chat if you think that Trump is going to eventually just say, let's, put a 2 if you don't believe it. You don't believe that he's going to give in. All right, let's go, Diamond Gang.
Relies on it. This is a complete and utter failure, this entire operation in Iran. Trump just needs to acknowledge that.
He's never going to acknowledge it. He's not.
And get out. And get out fast before it's too late. Let me know what you guys think. Comment, like, share, spread the word.
What y'all think? You said, yes, Todd, you're correct. What did Todd say? Yeah, I hear our troops are not being... Oh, yeah, I showed the trays, Todd. They are not being fed. They're running out of food. Does anyone know anything about that? I spoke about that, not the last live stream, but the one before that. I showed what their trays look like. Also, there was one soldier that lost like almost 20 pounds from not eating. So you know what, Todd? Once I get off this live stream, I'll look to see if there's any updates from the last time I spoke about this. But they're not able to get care packages or anything. And this is terrible. They should be eating way more than one chicken skewer and maybe a half a cup of rice. It was horrible. It was horrible.
Follow, subscribe, and I'll see you back here for the 411.
Okay, so the Middle East is an absolute mess right now. Strait of Hormuz, everything's getting shot at. I guess technically the ceasefire is still in place if everybody says that it is, but missiles and drones flying in every direction. We've not yet seen the United States react. That's something to keep an eye on here in the next couple hours. But last night, President Trump announced Project Freedom, I think is what it's called, where the U.S. created a coordination cell with CENTCOM that would facilitate the flow of ships out of the Persian Gulf through the Strait of Hormuz. It looks like 2 U.S. flagged vessels were able to make it out. But since then, it's just been absolute chaos. So
that part, Todd said, what is that crap? Fighting for this country and can't even get a decent meal. Yeah, I'm heartbroken about that. Big time.
3, maybe 4 different vessels have...
Listen, I worked for the Allegheny County Jail for years. And I mean, I've seen some things. I'm also ex-military. When I seen those trays, I was heartbroken. It was like the trays were literally, they feed the guys at the county jail more than they were feeding our military. Like, I was sick about that.
Reported in the past 18 hours since that announcement from President Trump that they've come under fire or have been hit by IRGC munitions. We've got, I think right now, the 3rd ballistic missile warning issued by the UAE. There's already been interceptions over the UAE, and it looks like one of their fuel ports right now may have been hit.
More than hit, it was on fire. We won't get into that. Iran, they was showing off today.
Virginia oil export zone appears to have caught around. So, yeah, I guess technically ceasefire in place, but this is the most kinetic that we've seen the Strait of Hormuz and the Persian Gulf since the ceasefire went into effect roughly 3 weeks ago.
We have some news right now. The Iranians are trolling Donald Trump in response to his meeting.
I had to get this clip because Trump put a picture up of him saying he hold all the cards. I'm like, dude, why would you pick Uno cards? The more Uno cards you have, that shows that you're losing. It's like, who is around him when he's doing this online? Oh boy, let's go.
That kind of fell flat, where he was holding up 6 Uno cards, all wild cards, saying that he has all the cards. Well, the Iranian consulate in India is now putting up their own meme saying we have less cards, 3 plus 4s, and a skip. Now, why was Donald Trump ridiculed? Well, remember, he says, I have all the cards, 6 wild cards. In Uno, the more cards you have, the worse you're doing. You want to get rid of all your cards, right? And a lot of people were saying, well, he has all the wild cards, so he's just going to win. But not necessarily. See, if I had a deck of plus 4s and skip, I could theoretically beat anyone who has a deck of wild cards, like the president does. One thing the Iranians have done really well at in this war is information warfare and the use of memes online to troll the White House and troll the
Absolutely. I see those little memes that they're doing, and it is insane. They are flooding us with that.
president. And this is just the latest example of what the Iranians are doing. I'll have more updates for you soon. Spread the word. Follow along for all the news you need to know about.
It's a statement.
That guy with the Uno cards, that's the first time I ever seen him smile. Every time I run into his content, he's screaming at the top of his damn lungs.
By the Iranian army that has been saying they prevented the entry of what they call American Zionist destroyers into the Strait of Hormuz. The Iranian army public relations announced with a firm and swift warning from the Navy of the Islamic Republic Army the entry of enemy American Zionist destroyers into the Strait of Hormuz was presented. The words there I'm reading out of the Iranian army.
Who is laughing at me? I seen those laughing emojis go up.
Statement by their public relations department. Just to recap the news coming in, according to Fast News Agency, is that 2 missiles have hit a U.S. warship near Jask Island after it ignored warnings from Iranian authorities.
Now, we're going to get into what they said. He said, world neither accepts Americans' humanitarian claims nor believes that. So what they're saying, I believe, is that they don't believe that we were just trying to help escort, people that didn't have any ships that didn't have anything to do with this out safely as a humanitarian act. American can get out of this self-made quagmire. So that has caused many problems for our region, for American itself and for the international community, by repeating the past mistakes. So basically he's saying we can't get up out of this because we're repeating past mistakes. The Americans should have learned by now. They cannot use the language of threats. We went over this, Diamond Gang. He was using that as a tactic. He was threatening them to get them to the negotiation table. And each time they called him bluff. Okay. The language of threats and force and retaliation to the Iranian nation. At this stage, our priority is to end the war. We cannot ignore previous experiences. So bottom line, they don't trust us, okay? And they don't trust us for reasons. Again, and I say this a lot, we were in the 6 rounds of negotiations. They were actually in talks of diluting the uranium and potentially selling it as something else. When Israel bombed them, and then we went in right after Israel. We were attacked by the U.S. On 2 occasions when we were negotiating. Last year was the first one. They came back to the table, and then boom, we got them again. The dimension of the nuclear issue. And so it is clear that the discussion on this issue has its own sensitivities and subtleties. Sorry, I had to get up on my computer screen. Sorry, and subtleties. The other side must commit to a reasonable approach and abandon its excessive demands regarding Iran. So what they want is fairness.
We have breaking developments this afternoon regarding Iran. The ceasefire has seemingly exploded this afternoon. According to the Washington Post, Iran has fired on various U.S. ships, commercial and warships. CNN is now reporting that according to a UAE source, strikes on Iran by either the United States, Israel, or both is set to resume in the next 24 hours.
So, Diamond Gang, don't be surprised if tomorrow it's a full-blown active war going on.
It comes today as Iran has targeted the United Arab Emirates, launching several missiles at the UAE, according to its Ministry of Defense, and striking an oil refinery in the UAE.
The UAE vowed, they said they will retaliate.
Fire is effectively null and void, although the United States thus far is not saying that. But Iran is launching missiles again. Iran opened fire on U.S. warships. U.S. warships fired back. Now, why is all this happening? It's because Donald Trump, in a lot of ways, started it by doing his Operation Project Freedom.
Boom. That's why I asked you guys, do you think he used this Operation Project Freedom to ignite this again as a reason? Just because the Americans, they're totally against this. And instead of him just doing what he say, we're just going to bomb the shit out of him or whatever he said. Do you guys think that they use this as an excuse? All right, let's go. You said they need to not go in the talks starting with demands instead talk first. I agree. You said Russia can hit U.S. soil. Absolutely, as he's bored. He may have. That's what I'm thinking. I don't think it was market manipulation this time. Well, just remember that November is not that far off. If he doesn't wrap this up fast, he and his party will suffer in the midterm elections. I know. This war is very political now. I agree, Todd. I do. Thanks for participating, Todd and Corey. I'm loving the comments.
Trying to go through the Strait of Hormuz, guiding ships through without getting Iranian permission. And now the war is about to begin again. Spread the word, follow for more.
In response to Trump's Project Freedom, Iran has already retaliated, with reports of multiple explosions being heard near a key U.S. Navy base in Dubai. This is the
Diamond Gang, please and thank you. I need 38 more likes. I got 144 in the building. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. If you would like to support the channel, the Cash App is pinned.
Largest U.S. Navy port outside of the United States, and multiple locals reported loud explosions with air defenses being active. The Ministry of Defense of the UAE announced that they've detected at least 4 missiles that were launched at the UAE from Iran moments ago. They say 3 of these missiles were intercepted and 1 fell to the sea. The MOD confirmed that the sounds reported earlier were related to these interceptions. However, it's also being reported that...
Why you say I'm lying? Game? Why you think I'm lying? I wanted to see what he had to say. You should have let him troll a little longer. I wanted to see why he said I was lying. I'm not telling any lies. I'm just giving an opinion. And you guys are free to give opinions. You just can't be disrespectful. That's all. You could have said that's not true, and you could have gave the reason why you felt like it wasn't true. And we would have allowed you to say what you wanted to say.
Fire has erupted at a UAE petroleum industrial site.
Listen, I'm not that type of girl. You don't have to agree with nothing that I'm saying. You can feel a totally different way, and you can express that because you have a right to express that. You just can't be disrespectful while you're doing it. That's all. Come on, we're adults. We're adults. Thanks, Diamond Gang, for those that hit the like.
Following an Iranian drone attack. So here's a list of recent IRGC attacks with no response from the United States or anybody else at the time I'm making this video. They attacked and maybe even seized a ship with small boats yesterday, attacked a UAE ship with 2 drones overnight, and today they've attacked a South Korean ship, multiple US vessels, and fired ballistic missiles at a sea target and
Listen, my mods don't play about me. You hear me? And I don't play about them. I love my moderators.
UAE ports. It seems like Trump's genius idea, Project Freedom, has caused the war to resume. Now we're just waiting to see how the United States and Israel respond.
We have significant breaking news out of the United Arab Emirates as the Fujairah oil industrial zone has been targeted and struck by Iran. The plant is on fire. You can see here in the photos.
Boom. Y'all see that? I said earlier, it was on fire. That was very strategic. This is what I'm saying. This is something that we went into war without strategy.
This was the backup plan. Oil from the region was being rerouted to here to get on the ships and export from...
That part, EJ. Your lying isn't the way to engage in any adult conversation. That part. All right, let's go.
The Middle East, and now Iran has targeted it. They've launched several rounds of strikes, and it is on fire. You can see the red dot there, how it has passed the Strait of Hormuz on the map, and this is how they were still getting some oil out of the region. And then the damage to the base.
Hold on, Dag. I'm trying to read your comment, and I daggone went up too far. Hold on, y'all. You said KGB? Who is? Hold on, let me get back to where I was. Okay. You're saying he's ex-KGB? Okay, let's go.
Industrial zone has been targeted and struck by Iran. The plant is on fire. You can see here in the photos. This was the backup.
Oh, you said Putin. You said Putin? Let me get out these comments. All right, y'all.
Plan. Oil from the region was being rerouted to here to get on the ships and export from the Middle East, and now Iran has...
Okay, you said I have no idea, but all I know is Iran is out of control and needs to be shut down with an extreme prejudice. Okay. Be careful. I saw a video stating people are getting paid to go back and forth with you all. Really? I wouldn't doubt it, Francis. That's crazy. So they will never attempt, or any other nation may think they can do the same. If weak little Iran can make threats, maybe they can too. You said we can't win this war. Okay. We got different opinions in the chat. I love it. All right, let's go.
targeted it. They've launched several rounds of strikes, and it is on fire. You can.
I got 144 in the building. Please, please, please. I need at least 25 more likes. Please and thank you. X, you know I love you, girl.
See the red dot there, how it is past the Strait of Hormuz on the map, and this is how they were still getting some oil out of the region. And now it's probably going to stop. We have yet to see how.
So guess what? That's going to affect us. It's going to affect us.
How the United States is going to respond. Several rounds of strikes against.
Cowboy said the U.S. can't win. Who else? Iran is not weak or little. Better ask somebody. I hear y'all. I hear y'all. I can't wait to get to the comment section. All right, let's go. We almost, well, we got about maybe 20 more minutes. Let's go.
The UAE and against a South Korean vessel is apparently on fire, struck in the region. And we're hearing of a U.S. warship targeted and possibly struck, but that is unconfirmed at this point. CENTCOM is denying that. Guys, major escalation here by Iran. This is going to change things. We'll see how President Trump responds. Keep checking back for updates today. Like, share, spread the word, follow, subscribe, and I'll see you back here for the 4-1.
Paul, I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks for those likes. That's what I'm talking about.
Breaking news out of the Middle East now as missile alerts went out in the United Arab Emirates for the first time since the ceasefire began.
Listen, this is what's going to be interesting because the UAE vowed retaliation. It's like how are they going to deal with this? Being as though that more than likely us in Israel, we're probably going to amp up. So it's like they're going to be, you know, basically in a small little fire with the UAE and then the U.S. and Israel. So this is going to be interesting.
Defense Ministry says missiles were fired from Iran and 3 were intercepted. This as President Trump's new efforts to guide stranded ships through the Strait of Hormuz are underway, with Iran promising an aggressive response. U.S. Central Command says 2 U.S. flag merchant vessels successfully got through the strait. The U.S. denies Iran's claim that it struck a U.S. destroyer trying to enter the strait.
So they're denying it. They're still denying it. For some reason, I believe that they did.
This morning, Trump claimed Iran's Navy is destroyed, their Air Force is destroyed, and their air defense is destroyed. Then how the hell are they launching attacks on U.S. ships and cargo vessels in the Strait of Hormuz? As confirmed by CENTCOM now and the Washington Post, and even confirmed by Trump himself.
But remember, a couple of weeks ago, I told you guys their stockpile was at 50% because they are being assisted by other countries. Who knows where it is? And then not only that, those little boats, those little attack boats or whatever they are, they could do major damage to ships. I showed y'all a video on that.
Exposing his lies from earlier. It's truly unbelievable. Saying Iran has taken some shots at unrelated nations with respect to the ship movement in Project Freedom. He confirms they struck a South Korean cargo ship, as I reported earlier, and is asking for South Korea to join this mission now. He claims that small boats is all Iran has left, which that's not true. They shot missiles.
Yeah, they do. They still have missile capability, but they do. They have a ton of those small boats, a lot of them.
At our ships. Someone should tell him that when you have all the cards in Uno, that is a losing hand. Here's footage of that cargo ship on fire.
Everybody's on his ass about them Uno cards, y'all. Wow, God. They need to babysit him overnight. He crashes out on True Social all the time.
In the strait, and now Trump has issued a major new threat towards Iran.
I spoke with President Trump for 20 minutes about the situation with Iran. He talked about Project Freedom and the U.S. efforts to guide vessels through the Strait of Hormuz, issuing a new warning to the Iranian regime, saying if the Iranians try to target U.S. ships in this area, they will be, quote, blown off the face of the earth.
Israel has just opened bomb shelters throughout the country, and we are seeing a massive increase in air refueling planes entering the region. This signals that strikes are going to start by both the U.S. and Israel here soon. Like,
y'all better subscribe to the channel and keep y'all notifications on, because y'all know I'm going to go live tomorrow about this. Soon as I get off this live, I'm going to watch until I fall asleep, and then I'll get up and I'll watch. Okay, let's go.
Within the next 24 hours. So get prepared, everyone. We are in for this ceasefire to be over. You might want to fill up with gas now. Let me know what you think about.
Because I'm telling you that it's going to go up big time. And I told you guys maybe about a week, I kept saying this is going to escalate. This is going to escalate.
About this all, comment, like, share, spread the word, follow, subscribe, and I'll see you back here for the 411.
All right, so a pretty significant announcement by the United States just a few moments ago, where Admiral Cooper, the head of U.S. Central Command, said, quote, "We have now opened a passage through the Strait of Hormuz to allow for the free flow of commerce to proceed." Now, this is part of what President Trump announced last night under Project Freedom, is what it's being called. And there was some confusion here because when President Trump announced it, it sounded like an escort mission, like we were going to have U.S. Navy vessels escorting commercial vessels through the strait. CENTCOM then clarified that this is more of a coordination cell, like they're going to be tracking movement and can respond.
You see how the language changed?
If called upon, but wouldn't necessarily be escorting. And then the first statement CENTCOM put out today was that they pushed naval guided missile destroyers through the Persian Gulf, through the Strait of Hormuz, and helped 2 U.S. flagged vessels leave the area. So it does look like some got out, which is great. That's positive. I think we're a long ways away from saying that the strait is effectively open. You know, following this news of Project Freedom being announced by the United States, Iran doubled down, saying
they got to stop putting things out there. They do. This is what makes us look foolish at times.
Nothing has changed. We are still the ones you have to go through if you want to enter or exit the Persian Gulf. And anybody who doesn't follow our rules will be fired upon. In fact, they said violating vessels will be stopped by force. Now, also today, we've seen a number of Iranian drones and missiles launched, not just at commercial vessels, but also at some targets in the UAE. So we'll see. I don't know. You know, I like the idea of Project Freedom, kind of force.
Bingo. And I'm right where he is. I like that idea. I really did. But I knew there was something behind it. And I believe that it was to ignite this war back up.
Seen the Strait of Hormuz open. It looks like Iran is not having any of it right now. We'll see how this plays out here over the next couple days.
So it's May 4th, 2026, and tensions are exploding across the Middle East, and full-blown war could very well break out again. Here's the latest. Trump announced so-called Project Freedom over the weekend, claiming that the U.S. Navy would be escorting trapped ships through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran saw this as direct provocation, and they responded accordingly. Iran struck the port of Fujairah in the UAE. That's the UAE's only oil export route that bypasses the strait, and it is currently on fire.
That right there alone is going to be a problem.
This was a deliberate, strategic hit by Iran. Iran also struck an ADNOC tanker with 2 drones and hit a South Korean vessel in the engine room. The UAE is now intercepting Iranian cruise missiles, and residents are receiving shelter-in-place alerts for the first time since the ceasefire. The UAE says that they will strike back in response.
Bingo. I told you guys the UAE vowed to retaliate. I'm not going to say payback, but to retaliate.
To Iran's attacks. A residential building in northern Oman was targeted in an Iranian attack, wounding 2 people. And we have CENTCOM here in the United States confirming that Iran fired on U.S. warships. And they're claiming that the U.S. destroyed Iranian small boats in response. But earlier this morning, the White House was denying that any of this was happening.
You see why? First, I guess deny it until you get solid proof. But it's like, it's the lies for me.
Iran is denying that any of their boats were destroyed. CENTCOM also claimed that 2 U.S. ships made it through the strait, though there is no evidence of that based on any data. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent went on Fox News, and he claimed that the U.S. has, quote, absolute control over the Strait of Hormuz. The strait is on fire. Ships are not moving. That is not what absolute control looks like. Bessent is now begging China to help the U.S. in the strait, and meanwhile,
That's crazy. They're begging China right now. That is insane. Oh, boy.
Trump made a post begging South Korea to join in on the effort. CNN is now reporting that the U.S. and Israeli strikes on target.
Oh, boy. South Korea. This is going to be something else if they say no.
Inside Iran could resume within the next 24 hours. This whole ceasefire just may be over. We'll have to see. An Iran military spokesperson released a statement writing, quote, tonight, perhaps a new chapter of power will unfold, one the adversaries have never witnessed before. And while everything is falling apart, Trump is telling reporters that his blockade is, quote, the greatest military maneuver in history. This is a fast-moving situation, and we're going to keep following it every step of the way. For deeper coverage and analysis, listen to Midas Touch podcast anywhere you find podcasts.
I love Midas Touch.
War with Iran still officially in a ceasefire, but with missiles and drones crisscrossing the region again today. U.S. stocks fell. The Dow.
See, I told y'all the Dow fell. Gas prices went up. Oh, stuff. I need 3 more likes. I love y'all. Thanks. All right, let's go.
Dropping more than 500 points. That's more than 1%. And oil prices up more than 5% to around $114 a barrel. But 2 U.S. cargo ships that have been trapped for months in the war zone made it out today, according to officials, raising hopes that more could follow. Here's senior foreign correspondent Holly Williams with more tonight from Tel Aviv.
We did a little detour, and it's working out very nicely.
As the U.S. military works to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, President Trump said today that the conflict with Iran is going very well.
You hear that? The conflict with Iran is going very well. And that is just simply not the case at all.
U.S. Central Command said the military intercepted cruise missiles and drones launched by Iran to try to disrupt the mission, with no American warships or other U.S.-flagged vessels hit. The president said the U.S. struck 7 Iranian military speedboats. As usual, Iran gave a different...
Again, both sides they're denying this. So, who do we believe?
...different version of events, denying that any commercial ships passed through the Strait of Hormuz. The country's state media claimed that this video shows the Iranian Navy firing warning shots at American destroyers.
Y'all see that? It's clear footage of them firing warning shots at us. So again, who do you believe? Okay, I will. Corey and Todd, if you guys want to come up, once I'm done, y'all want to come up? Come hit the link. And we could just, we could talk. I'll drop the link for them tonight. Okay, cool. If y'all want to come up, hit the link. And I will. I guarantee you I'll drop it. Because it's only, 12:30 a.m.? Yeah, I'll drop it for you guys to come up. Let's go. Thanks, EJ.
Though we cannot verify it. On social media yesterday, Trump called the initiative to move ships through the Strait of Hormuz a humanitarian gesture, with around 2,000 ships stranded and food on board some of them running short. But ending the Iranian...
2,000 ships stranded. 2,000. Thanks, Diamond Gang. I got 100 likes. Thank you.
blockade would also strip Iran's leaders of their most powerful bargaining chip. That's helpful to a president who's under pressure to end the conflict.
They're not giving it up.
So ever since the war started, we have witnessed maybe more than 200 missiles over our head.
Rahman Kapoor is the captain of an oil tanker stranded in the Persian Gulf since the war began in February.
He all smiles. Ain't no way.
Are you worried that this actually may cause the ceasefire to collapse?
Yes, anything could go wrong at any time.
There are fears in this region that the fragile ceasefire between the US and Iran could now crumble. The United Arab Emirates, an American ally, said it was targeted by Iran today, with a drone strike injuring 3 people and sparking a
That was so strategic. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Strategy.
fire at an oil port. Tony.
Holly Williams for us in Tel Aviv. Holly, thank
I hate to say this, but they poked the bear on this one. They refrained for quite some time.
you very much.
Donald Trump's constant taunting of Iran has backfired as a major escalation event just took place. Iran has officially struck a port area in the United Arab Emirates, also after striking a South Korean.
There is footage right there. There is footage, but they want us to believe that this never happened, y'all.
Ship, as well as a UAE ship. Now, this follows Donald Trump saying that the United States was entering the Strait of Hormuz to escort ships. CENTCOM posted that 2 U.S.-based ships had been transiting the Strait of Hormuz. This followed Donald Trump's social media post saying that the U.S. Navy was going to head in and escort ships, to which some members of the United States military at a leadership level tried to pull those statements back and say, no, we're just going to be providing some guidance. And
you see that? They changed the language so quick. So quick.
Logistical support to ships already in the Strait of Hormuz to help coordinate when the Strait of Hormuz opens. According to Iran, they saw certain moves that were happening in the Strait of Hormuz that signaled that the U.S. was working with the United Arab Emirates to bring some of these ships out of the Strait of Hormuz. And then the UAE took action by striking this port city, which I'll talk about in a second. It holds a lot of significance, and I'll explain why. And also, it hit 2 ships that Iran said was trying to exit the Strait of Hormuz. Now, this specific port city that was just struck by Iran is the Fujairah port. You see it right here on fire. There's no dispute that this port was struck, and it's been the only remaining UAE oil export outlet, an endpoint of a pipeline that the UAE built to bypass the Strait of Hormuz. And so Iran striking this area so that you couldn't have the oil bypass the Strait of.
This is going to be such a problem.
Hormuz. Here's additional photos of that port in Fujairah on fire. There's also a petrochemical plant there as well. So as I noted at the outset, the South Korean Ministry of Foreign Affairs confirmed to their news agency that a South Korean vessel was struck in the Strait of Hormuz.
So there was a South Korean vessel struck. We can confirm that. We see what we see, and we're claiming that never happened. They show clear as day Iranians firing at the ships, but they say it never happened. But okay.
Its engine room on the port, the left side of the ship, on fire. Fortunately, no casualties there. Similarly, the United Arab Emirates confirmed that one of its ships associated with its ANDOC tankers, ANDOC, ANDOC, that's their big, state-run kind of oil company. Their tanker was hit as well. And Iran said that these ships were working with the U.S. in order to test Iran's control over the Strait of Hormuz.
Maybe that's what it was, a test. But Iran told them any ships, anybody helping us, anybody doing anything for us is subject to be attacked.
And Iran fired on those ships, blocked it. There are no ships leaving the Strait of Hormuz right now. And there's also no indication of any U.S. Navy activity in the Strait of Hormuz. But that port city of Fujairah is burning, major escalation. And now we're going to see if the war with respect to open hostilities has resumed.
Breaking news. The war in Iran has moved to the Strait of Hormuz, and Iran is claiming they have struck 2 vessels trying to get through. One ship owned by the UAE transporting oil ignored a warning from Iran, and Iran sent 2 suicide drones. The UAE has since confirmed the attack, calling it a...
Oh, we know they have drones, right? We know they probably have more drones than what we can imagine right now because, again, who's helping them? Russia.
Retaliation is strongly condemns. Well, my answer to their condemnation is, well, you should have thought about that when you housed the U.S. military and let them attack Iran from your land. I strongly condemn you doing that. Maybe you should call your new best friends for help, Israel. I'm sure they will come to your rescue. It's crazy how the UAE bends over backwards to protect the U.S. and Israel's interests, but when they need help from them, they are nowhere to be found. The second vessel is the USS Canberra, a U.S. vessel. They also chose to ignore warnings, and they received 2 anti-ship missiles, which is confirmed by Iran, but the U.S. and CENTCOM has denied that any ship.
Bingo. And that's what we're going to do until eventually the truth comes out, just like what we talked about in the beginning of this live stream, as far as the casualties, the deaths, the cost of the war, the boats, not the boats, but the jets, the Boeing, yeah, all of that, it'll come out eventually.
Have been struck. The U.S. has since changed its rules of engagement. American forces are now authorized to strike anything perceived as an immediate threat to vessels crossing the strait, including IRGC fast boats and Iranian missile positions. Iran's IRGC Navy answered with a radio broadcast to all mariners. If you cross into the Strait of Hormuz without permission from the Islamic Republic, you will be targeted and destroyed. This all comes after the U.S. launched what they call Project Freedom 2 days ago to guide stranded ships out of the Strait of Hormuz. Trump says this is a humanitarian gesture. I wonder how Trump feels this is working out for him. It looks to me that this Project Freedom is not working, and they will need another plan to bypass the Strait of Hormuz.
Bartlett, Inzi, first tell me, what have you been experiencing?
Now, this is in regards to the UAE saying that they're going to retaliate. So they're preparing severe retaliation response against Iran. So let's get into this clip.
Experiencing in Dubai today.
Well, Katie, if you thought that diplomacy was the way out of this conflict, then think again, because well and truly today, the big question is whether the ceasefire still stands, because Iran feels perhaps like it doesn't, given their attacks across the UAE throughout the day today. Let me just go through exactly what has Iran done specifically towards the UAE. Firstly, there have been around 4 missile alerts on our phones today, the first since the 8th of April, so almost a month.
Listen, they warned them. They warned them. Anybody helping the U.S. will be targeted.
Since that ceasefire began, and then across the UAE, many residents have heard the blaring of alarms on their phones as Iranian missiles and drones have been coming in to the country. The UAE said that 4 cruise missiles fired by Iran came towards UAE territory. 3 of them were intercepted. 1 of them landed into the sea. Then we saw a drone strike on the Fujairah Petroleum Industrial Zone. That caused an advanced fire. The authorities.
That's what I'm going to do tonight and tomorrow. I want to see how many drone attacks there are.
Said there, and that injured 3 people. We've also heard a number of fighter jets flying above the UAE today, which is the first.
Fighter jets. I thought they obliterated their. They have no more Air Force. They said they have no more Navy. Okay, let's go.
First time we've heard them in quite some time, which just really gives us a signal that Iran has really upped the ante, has escalated once again today in this war. Now, what's been the UAE response to all of this, Katie? They've said that these are treacherous attacks. They emphasized in a statement that they will not tolerate any compromise in protecting its security and sovereignty under any circumstances, and that.
So you hear that? They said they are going to retaliate.
It reserves its full and legitimate right to respond to these attacks in a manner that ensures the protection of its sovereignty, national security, the safety of its territories, its citizens, residents, and visitors. And I just want to tell you about a couple.
Now, let me say this. This is not the first time they've been attacked. They were attacked in the beginning. They were attacked in the beginning of this war.
Conversation that I've had with a couple of.
That is one of the reasons why they got out.
sources within the Emirati government this evening. They've said to me that the UAE is preparing a severe retaliatory response against Iran following these recent attacks on the UAE vessels and this energy site in Fujairah. They also warned of a harsh revenge towards Iran. To me, from covering this conflict for the last couple of months now, Katie, that is some of the strongest rhetoric that I've heard from the UAE in response to what Iran has been doing.
Listen. I told you guys the other day, that's why they left OPEC. It didn't make sense for them because they were actually hit prior to what happened today. So they're like, we got to get up out of here.
Towards the Gulf states following the US and Israeli strikes on Iran. I think we are now in a situation where the diplomacy, which was happening pretty heavily over the weekend, there were a lot of talks between the US and Iran via the Pakistanis. Remember, there were peace proposals being handed back and forth. That effectively has taken a huge sidestep now because we are back into military action of this conflict. I think importantly as well, this may well give a green light to the Israelis to restart their hostilities towards Iran. They will see as an attack on the UAE, as an attack on the Israelis and the US as well. They see them as a very strong ally. And I would not be surprised if whether it's tonight or in the coming days, we see the Israelis now carrying out strikes once again.
So it's getting ready to escalate in a major way.
Inside Iran. Of course, they're already doing that inside of Lebanon, where there is supposed to be a ceasefire there.
Bingo. And I told y'all they want the ceasefire to end a week early when they never stopped. They never stopped.
As well, but this is an escalatory move by Iran today, throughout the day, whether it's the attacks on the Strait of Hormuz, whether it's the energy facility in Fujairah. This clearly is something that the UAE were not expecting and are now in a position where they may well retaliate.
So, Inzi, do we have any reliable reporting on what happened with the peace talks over the weekend? Why the Iranians suddenly started sending missiles over into the UAE? Why they started getting aggressive again in the Strait?
That is the reason is due to this Operation Freedom.
I think this has come off the back of President Trump's plan to escort some of these vessels using US Navy vessels out of the Strait of Hormuz to some form of safety. I think
they were definitely testing their gangster today. When he did that, and then when he said that, I guess Iran was like, they think we're playing and we're not.
Also, the fact that the US blockade very much remains in the Strait of Hormuz. And I think what Iran feel is that by the US carrying out the blockade and carrying out these escorts is a break of the ceasefire in itself. And so what they believe is that, well, if the US has broken the ceasefire in that sense, then we will target the UAE. But specifically targeting UAE vessels and then UAE territory is a big step by the Iranians.
It's definitely a big step.
And it will not be taken lightly, not least by the UAE, but of course the US and Israel as well, specifically on the talks and why it seems to be a breakdown. Look, I think this...
Listen, do you guys think any other countries will get involved in this right now? Do you guys think? Put it in the chat. Say yes or no. Okay, let's go.
Two sides to this. Yes, it was positive that these discussions were taking place and that Iran had put forward a 14-point proposal and that the US responded and Iran are reviewing that response. But those 14 points were pretty unrealistic. And I think the president would...
You said, Todd, I don't think Iran wants to have the UAE to be involved in this war. They are. It's too late. The UAE also hates Saudi. And leaving OPEC is because they want to sell more. Yeah, more, they do want to pump more oil out. Oil than OPEC and Saudi would not allow that. Yeah, David, you right. You right. David, you said Israel only. This is going to be crazy. All right, let's go.
See them as totally unacceptable. And also, if Iran is not talking about its nuclear program within a framework to have negotiations, and the US will feel that there's no point essentially to have those discussions. So it was probably Iran go.
Somebody got to fold. Somebody got to fold. They got to.
To the president, well, look, you need a deal more than we do. We're not going to capitulate to any of your demands. So the ball is in your court, and here's the price that you have to pay. Here's our deal and our demands that you must follow in order to get to the negotiation table. So I think that's where we are. Iran probably wasn't entirely serious about.
I'm going to say this one more time. Shouts out to Pakistan, because their efforts to get to both sides to the negotiation table, I mean, they worked effortlessly. Just on it. I mean, they tried. They really tried.
Actually having direct discussions once again. And a senior diplomat over the weekend inside Tehran was telling me all along that regional hostilities will likely flare up once again. Iran have been preparing for a US and Israeli attack inside of Tehran and other parts of the country as well. So I think all along we knew potentially that this conflict would reignite. I just don't think we expected that Iran to go on the offensive today and specifically target vessels in the Strait of Hormuz.
I'm not going to lie. I was surprised. I was so shocked that this happened today, because they've been fairly laid back.
But also target territory within the UAE once again.
Yeah, angering its neighbors, and we'll see how that's going to pan out.
We have some news right now. Todd Blanche, the attorney.
Okay, now we're at the end. That's where we're at right now. So we're going to go into a little bit of Todd Blanche's little interview. He did not do well as far as Comey's case, the 8647 seashell case. Let's go, Diamond Gang, because of what he said was crazy. He said a lot of people used the word 8647. I'm like, no, he did not just say what I think he just said in front of the whole wide world. Let's go.
General just had a pretty disastrous interview on television. He said that the reason why we need voter ID, comparing it to allegedly, he says you have to show an ID when you enter a restaurant.
Yeah, he said that too, about you have to show ID when you enter a restaurant. I don't know what type of restaurant he's going into. Some ladies club, some type of, I don't know, strip club. I don't know. Let's go.
And he also once again confirmed that the term 8647, which Jim Comey's being prosecuted for allegedly threatening Trump, it's posted all the time, he says, and no, not everyone's going to be prosecuted. So first, Blanche said there's a lot of things we can be doing, like voter ID, every time you walk into a restaurant.
Diamond Gang, listen to this. I don't know what the heck is going on with this administration, man.
You have to show ID. How about you have to show your ID to vote? That's not anything crazy. I don't remember the last time I entered a restaurant and I had to show my ID at the door. That just doesn't happen to me. If it happens to you, let me know. And then Blanche was asked about the 8647 and specifically the merchandise being sold across the internet with 8647 on it. And he was asked, are those folks going to get prosecuted? And he goes, no, of course not. 8647, that's posted constantly. That phrase is used constantly. We'll see how long he lasts as Attorney General, given these interviews. We'll see. Spread the word.
Right, because it seems like every time, from Kristi Noem to Pam Bondi to Gabby, like as soon as they went in front of Congress and the World Wide Web could see what they're saying, everybody, they lost their jobs ASAP. This is crazy.
Follow along for more.
Is that there's a lot of things that we can be doing, like voter ID. Like every time you walk into a restaurant or a club, you have to show your ID. How about you have to show your ID to vote? That's not.
Y'all heard it. Y'all know I keep the receipts. I got the head of receipts.
That's not anything that's crazy, and that's what we should be talking about.
Certainly one of the votes on Capitol Hill right now.
Todd Blanche, the Attorney General, was interviewed by Kristen Welker just hours ago, and she points out you've got messages of 8647 being posted all over social media. You've got dozens of products on Amazon that are 80.
Listen, Diamond Gang, in my opinion, that case on Comey is going to be thrown out just like the last one. I don't know why they're doing this. Let's go.
647. If that's violence, then are you going to indict all of those people? And Todd Blanche goes, oh no, that phrase is used all the time. Then why are you indicting James Comey? Let's take a look.
Well, the image, excuse me, is part of what led to this indictment.
Yes.
It is worth noting that on Amazon.com, we looked this up, there are dozens of products with the same terminology. We're showing it right here, 8647 being sold and purchased right now. Should individuals selling or buying 8647 merchandise be concerned that they're going to be prosecuted by the DOJ?
This isn't about a single incident. Okay, this isn't. I mean, of course not. That's posted constantly. That phrase is used constantly.
Uh-oh. Wait a second. It is?
There are constantly many.
I guess, I mean, you can argue the tone, the manner, the way he said it, I guess. I don't know, but they need to stop.
And women who choose to make threatening statements against President Trump. Every one of those statements do not result in indictments, of course. There are facts, there are circumstances, there are investigations that have to take place. And we have charged dozens and dozens of men and women this year with threatening President Trump and others.
Let me say this. If it makes it to that stage, I will cover it, but I doubt it.
So
they've charged dozens with threatening Trump, but not with seashells on Twitter spelling out 8647. Think about that. What is the other aggravating information where for James Comey, it is indicative of a crime, but for everybody else, it's not? You can sell 8647 merchandise on Amazon, and that's no big deal. You can buy 8647 merchandise on Amazon, and it's no big deal. You can post 8647 to social media, and it's no big deal. But something else James Comey did or said made it a crime, but they won't tell us what. And laughably, they said last week that
that part, they won't tell us why, and that's why I believe it will be thrown out because their case is just not strong enough.
It took somewhere between 9 and 12 months to investigate James Comey's post before deciding the totality of the evidence is a crime here. What other evidence do you have that James Comey planned to partake in or was encouraging violence against Donald Trump? He arranged seashells or took a picture of seashells that had been arranged. Hey, if you like this kind of content, make sure to check out our full show. Our social media clips are just a peek into the stories I cover on the daily hour-long podcast. Just search for The David Pakman Show on
I love this guy. I do. I watch him every day.
YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.
We have some news right now. Many MAGA conservatives are upset this morning after SNL.
This is the last thing we're going to go over, Patel. And they are so upset that SNL did this skit. It was funny to me, but okay.
Skewered FBI Director Kash Patel over his response to the recent shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner and elsewhere. You may have missed this, but Aziz Ansari did an SNL skit last night as Kash Patel on Saturday Night Live. And in part, he said, quote, "I'm a trailblazer. I'm the first Indian person to suck at their job. Everyone says Indian people are smart, hardworking, incredibly intelligent. I prove without a shadow of a..."
SNL, that's what they do. They do skits on people. Why are they so upset about this? I mean, does it make Patel look bad? Yeah, it does, but it's not to that extent. But he is, I truly believe he's going to lose his job.
Doubt that we can be just as incapable and incompetent as the whites. That's a direct quote from Ansari's skit where he was portraying FBI Director Kash Patel. It's gotten millions and millions of views across the internet. And this morning, lots of folks on the right who support Patel aren't too happy with the skit. And it comes as Kash Patel's firing remains imminent. Just because he's still the FBI director doesn't mean he's going to stay the FBI director through the end of the year. And we'll see if this skit is actually what pushes Trump to do it. Spread the word. Follow along, stay updated on all the news you need to know about. There'll be more to come soon.
Kash Patel got humiliated tonight on SNL with this hilarious new impersonation of him by actor Aziz Ansari. You just have to see it.
But someone else wants to come say hello before he's almost certainly fired. Director of the FBI.
He said before he's certainly fired. This is horrible.
FBI, Mr. Kash Patel.
They picked the perfect guy to do it too. He looked just like him.
What up? It's K-Dot,
aka Cash with a K, aka the most effective FBI director this country's ever had, Cash Patel. Now, after the attempted assassination of President Trump, another one.
That was horrible. The way that they got him, had him sitting there at the table, twiddling his thumbs like nothing was going on. That was embarrassing.
Conducted an investigation that could not have been more thorough. We dotted every T and bulged every I.
Like, look at this side by side. Cash Patel, Aziz Ansari.
Look at his eye.
I mean, a perfect casting decision. It's identical. And the best part about this is Cash Patel is absolutely going to see this segment because he is chronically online. He looks at every criticism of him, and what do you know, on Monday morning, there'll be an investigation into SNL probably. Definitely go watch the full segment. It gets even better, but I love how they did that. Just so funny.
All right, Diamond Gang, that is it for tonight. Hold on, let me go to the chat. I'm going to drop this link if y'all want to come up. Hold on. Y'all could come up. Hold on. Control D. Uh-oh, did I put an extra key in there? Hold on. Let's see. I might have put an extra key in there. Yeah, hold on. I deleted it. Okay, here we go. The link is dropped if you want to come up. All right, let me take a look at some of you guys' comments. Yeah, I'm going to be watching this closely tomorrow. And, you know, I will be back with an update. I want to say thank you for everybody that hit that like button. That helps keep me in the algorithm. And that's, I care about that more than anything. I really do. All right, let's see. You said, what about the Black American people have to do? What about the Black American people have to do with this conversation? You gotta, I don't know what you mean by that, Todd. Who keeps deleting the British? I don't know what that means. That's what they said. You said the government is addicted to drugs and alcohol. There was this a piece that I had got, and it was basically about how they found out that the White House, I'm gonna say allegedly for my sakes, was on uppers because of, you know, them going to meetings, them, you know, dealing with certain things during the day. But I had a piece on that. I'm not sure if I brought it or I decided not to in one of my live streams. I can't remember. But there was some information about that. It was actually published. I can't remember where. But it was a reputable site. All right, let me see. Let me go up. That's what they saying. And mail-in voting is a fraud in the blue states. That's what they say. Yeah. Yep. You said, Alice said, you have got to laugh at the stupidity that comes out of this administration. We are at war. Make it make sense. I totally agree with you. I'm like, are they serious? Are they serious? Please subscribe to the channel. Keep your notifications on. I give updates quite often. I might miss a day here if I'm exhausted, a day there. But I'm normally on at least 4 times a week. You said yes, but now you can vote without having to leave your house. But do you trust it? That's the question. Yep. You said Trump has never walked with the commoners. He has only been associated with the elites. Yep. Corey said he loved the British. Let's see. You said I'm not American. I am British. Okay, coffee buttercream. I know that's right. Been voting since 1979 and always needed a ID card issued by the state. That's facts. You do need your ID to vote. Well, I know they asked me for mine. The ballot comes in the mail. Right. That's true too. If you do the mail-in ballots, there's no, you don't have to show ID. Let's see. You said Trump is literally unhinged and not thinking straight, and he is hard-headed and doesn't want to go down in history for giving up. That's what I think it is too. It's his pride and his ego. But at some point, I mean, I'm hoping that this is not a forever war, even though we went in with forever war objectives, regime change. So, yeah. Okay. I understand. I'll drop the link the next time. I appreciate you coming through. You and Todd, y'all kept the chat. Y'all kept the chat flowing. Mike, that's my boo too. Do away with the drop-off voting box. Dumb. That's crazy. Well, since nobody's going to come up, Mike, you owe me. You know that, right? I'm going to go ahead and close out. But please, 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 and thank you. On the way out, if you haven't hit the like. And again, if you would like to support the channel, the Cash App is pinned. Subscribe to the channel. Keep your notifications on. All opinions are respected over here. You just can't be disrespectful. Oh, are you? That's a good thing. You said absolutely, as I'm a chatter and I gotta keep it real. I don't care. I love it. I love it. You said it's the resources in Iran that Trump wants. Yeah, he wants the oil. He wants that oil. I agree. Well, there's always Corey next time. Just don't be a stranger. That's all I'm saying. Don't be a stranger. All right, so we are 2 hours, 20 minutes in. Shouts out to all my beautiful moderators. I love y'all. Thank you. You too. You owe me, Michael. All right, y'all. Thank you. Thank you, Coffee Buttercream. I appreciate that. I do. I really do. Period. You better not be. You said that is what it's all about. Control without oil and money. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. I still can't believe this is going on. I just can't. I cannot believe it. He was singing a whole different tune. No new wars, no this, no that. And it's just like, wow. He wants to go down in history as the most powerful man in the world. I had that. I had all of that. My channel was recently demonetized. I got caught in a sweep. There was a lot of channels that got demonetized. And mine is for this right here. I'm about 99.99% sure. My channel was demonetized because I'm talking about political a lot. So, and I'm kind of clip heavy because I like to bring receipts. So I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But I'm okay. Eventually, it'll, depend on fan funding. What up? And that's a girl? What's going on? Yeah. So, but for now, I gotta depend on fan funding, and if they don't give it back, it is what it is. I have started to to what's the word do I want to use? I'm now on X. I'm now on Twitch. So what I'm going to do is start expanding, because right now this stuff is happening to a lot of people on YouTube. And yeah, a lot of people is going through this right now. And it's all done by bots, not humans. And they're just changing a lot. So I don't ever want to bank on YouTube. I learned quickly. Some huge, big content creators, they were demonetized. Cotton is sweep. So, yeah, YouTube, and people is not liking it. And I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if a class action lawsuit come, because this is happening to thousands of channels. So, but I'm okay with it. At first, I was angry. I'm not even going to lie, because I work hard. I was angry, bitter, and mad. I work hard. But I quickly got over it. Quickly. Yeah. Thousands of channels was demonetized. My boy called me and I was like, I was just demonetized. And I'm like, really? No, we're going to fight this. And I kid you guys not, 10 minutes later, I was still on the phone with him and my email came through. And then I looked around to some of the creators that I'm subscribed to, their monetization was gone. And they give you such a vague reason. It could have been a thumbnail. It could have been, I'm pretty sure it's these videos that I'm doing, these live streams that I'm doing. Oh, thank you. I'll be all right. Thank you, Corey. But yeah, so a lot of people were demonetized. A lot of them were demonetized in the political arena. So, yep. And they're using bots to do it. And it's crazy because I don't use AI. I use my own voice, I do my own scripts, and I do my own editing on my uploads and shorts. So I'm thinking it's either this, what I got going on with this Trump content. I can't think of it being anything else. I'm going to try to switch up the game a little bit, but, you know, like I said, thank you. Like I said, I've started this and I'm going to finish it. Once I feel like I'm done talking about this, then that's when I'll start cleaning up my channel. You know, I'm not, no, I'm not switching up the game. Yeah, AI is a big problem and it's hurting certain creators, because here's the deal. I'm doing war updates, which happens, what's the word I want to use? That it's current events. Current events, they change daily. So what it may look like that to a robot, that I'm doing the same content for views. That's how they position it. But it's not, because it's current events. Something happens different every day. So, yeah. Yeah. AI. So it's like I'm doing something different every day because I'm talking about current events. But the robot don't see it that way. And then when you ask for an appeal, it takes forever or it's automatically denied because, again, they run it through an AI system. You know, most people that win their appeals, which I wasn't aware of, they do it by video, where they literally break down and show on camera how they edit and how they do things. So if I don't prevail, I'll have to wait the 90 days and see. But I'm not stopping. I'm going to still do this content. I'm still going to do it. You know? So if I start something, I'm going to finish it. And this is still going on, so I'm going to finish it. Period. Bottom line. You know, I'm not going to do that. I have an audience. You guys come here for this, so I'm going to provide it. I'm going to provide it. You know, once it dies down, if we move on to something else or something else happens to come, I'm addicted now. I'm addicted. So, that's I love you. You said AI is like any other system. Just have to know how to hack it and get control. Yeah, it could be, and because they put you under such a big umbrella, it could be for anything. It could be because my thumbnails look the same. You know what I'm saying? Not much, you know, variation between a couple of my thumbnails. It could have been anything. I know you do, boo. And because they don't tell you, people rush, they delete all their hard work. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. You know, at one point in time, I cracked over 100,000 views by the time I got off a live stream. So I got to be doing something right. You know? So sometimes, you know, it ain't about the money all the time. Eventually, you know, the more I become established, I'll get fan funding or, you know, support from my people. So, and I prefer it to be that way because here's the thing. When I am eligible to get it back, I'm not going to lie. I'm probably going to think twice about hitting that button because I want that freedom. I don't want to be like, oh my goodness, I don't want to worry about that shit. Am I going to be demonetized? I don't want to worry about that. I just want to be free. That's all. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I love doing it, you know. I love doing it this way. So we'll see what happens, you know. That's why I work. One day, maybe I will become a full-time content creator. But for now, I got to work. As you was on it with the like button. Yeah, that helps me to stay in the algorithm. You know, the more likes I get, the engagement, all of that. So, but all right, gang. I am Meek. I seen you dip in here real quick, bestie. Right. Yeah, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. So, like I said, tonight was the first time I streamed on Twitch. That's what I'm going to consistently stream on there. I'm going to consistently post my shorts on X and seek other streams of income. That's all. That's it. I know people that, you know, support their family and their livelihood is YouTube and their channel was demonetized. Like, I don't ever want to be in that type of position. So it's always good to have multiple streaming platforms. So I'm going to expand and I'm going to grow those platforms that I just mentioned along with this one. Twitch is like live stream. It was built for gaming. And then a little bit of everybody start going on Twitch. But you can only live stream over there. So I could do that at the same time I'm on here. Everything that's on here is on Twitch right now. I am. I'm not giving up. I'm not. I promise you. Thank you, Nessa girl. Michael, you're so sweet. All right, y'all. I am 2.5 hours in. It is 1:13 a.m. Y'all be good until I see y'all tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Keep your notifications on. And I will see you guys tomorrow for sure. Good night, guys.
It's under the breeze. Sip on me. I'll pour it hot. so high. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling his tea, spilling and sipping his tea, spilling and sipping his tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's Yolanda DaGreat, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait to sip this tea. Sip this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping 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 this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's Yolanda DaGreat, shining bright, set the stage. Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait, so come and escape and sip this tea. Sip with me, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling this tea, spilling this tea, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea.